Competition for those prestigious C-level jobs can be fierce. To find worthy candidates, companies will often hire an executive search firm. These organizations essentially act as gatekeepers to some of the most wanted and prized positions. However, there's one executive search firm that one could say ranks above all others. They fill some of America's most important job roles. Roles like Department of Energy Secretary and Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, not to mention a mass of ambassadors and U.S. attorneys. They are the White House Office of Presidential Personnel, and it's their job to identify the men and women that'll lead the executive branch of the United States government. It's a rigorous vetting process for qualified candidates, including extensive background checks and comprehensive financial disclosures. With presidential appointments ranging in the thousands, gone are the days when the office worked with a mere staff of 6 as it did during the Kennedy administration. Today, you'll find at least 100 staff members all working to find the right candidate who will effectively help execute the president's agenda. Diversified Search Managing Director Veronica Biggins knows full well the intricacies involved with locating that elusive purple squirrel of a candidate. But the executive search industry is more like the second act of her career. She provides the playbill of her life, both professional and personal, in today's Executive Profiles.
And we're going to start with your lovely parents.
Oh.
I want to talk about your mom and your dad.
Good. This is a good place to start.
It is absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell us about your folks, because I know that has a lot to do with who you are today.
My parents grew up in Charlotte and Belmont, North Carolina, and I give my father's mother A+. Mm-hmm. She had 6 children. She and my grandfather. She was a maid. He was the person who was the janitor, I guess, at the largest place there. Sent them all to college. My father went to North Carolina A&T. Everybody in my household, except for me, went to North Carolina A&T. Worked hard, and little television going on in our household. Everybody was expected to do well. Everyone was expected to go to college. It was never a thought that you would not. I mean, my parents were strict. In the summer, we were active. We were, tennis and swimming and, all those other kinds of things.
So, I mean, you were ready to go by the time you left town in 1964,
when I
50 years ago.
When I begged to go to Spelman College,
Right.
begged to go to Spelman College. But, at that time, for black parents, sending their daughter to Spelman, right, was like, the top of the line. I mean, you just didn't get any better than that. Work hard and get yourself into Spelman.
But what a great kind of runway to be able to come to Atlanta at an incredible year.
Yeah.
I mean, a year that, who's going to forget when you came to Atlanta?
I mean, we were part of history. My senior year, we buried Martin Luther King. Right. We had Bobby Kennedy came to campus to speak. I mean, think about John Lewis.
Right. You graduate from Spelman.
Spelman College.
And you go work for CNS Bank.
It's interesting. If you look around this city today, some of the people that are in key positions in this city spent their early years as part of CNS Bank.
Absolutely.
So the management training program.
But you had to be completely different in that program.
It was.
A woman of color in a boys' bank.
Yeah, well, that's true. It was a boys' bank. And I guess I'd have to go back to my father. Keep your head down and get your job done. Do your job. Really work hard. And one of the things that you learn working for a financial institution is that everything is important. Pay attention, listen carefully, and certainly the basis of learning finances and how this country works and what stock means. And there was no place better to be in life than in a financial institution.
They sent you out to a branch in Marietta? What was that all about?
Marietta, Georgia. So that was one of those things where I did say, are we sure about this? Especially when I went out there, I'm like, are we sure about this? I can sit here and smile about it now, but there were some things that were not good that happened. Toughened you up?
The fact that you went there not only succeeded, but really became the highest ranking woman.
Yeah, that's true.
Inside the entire institution.
That is true.
I mean, it's really, you're there, what, in your 20 years?
20 years.
What an incredible sense of accomplishment early in your career, though, to be able to really trailblaze through an institution that wasn't quite ready.
Retrospect trailblazing, but in the moment, it certainly, I didn't.
It's heavy lifting?
Yeah, it was very heavy lifting.
So then we go on to Renaissance Weekend. I want you to tell how the Renaissance Weekend morphed into your next.
A really good friend said to me, oh, we'd like to invite you to come to Renaissance Weekend. I was at CNS Bank at the time, actually. And I'm thinking, I'm going to give up a New Year's weekend to go to some think tank. But I said to my husband and kids, let's just try it out once and, see. So our first weekend, maybe there were 30 families.
Wow.
But you had like Supreme Court justices, and I mean, you're like, whoa, how did I get here? It was great. We kind of grew with Renaissance. The children grew up together. So how did I meet my next boss in life, Bill Clinton? I met him at Renaissance. And lo and behold, he did run and obviously won and won again. So that was great. Yeah.
How was that? Was that the best, wildest 18 months of your life?
I think my great uncle put it best, that he knew his great uncle who was a slave, and he knows his grandniece who's in the White House. I think that probably summed it up better than anything.
It's a great way to put it. Wow.
Yeah. But in the same breath, we worked, and that's what people forget about being in those walls. It's not all fun and games. It is, people are shooting you every day. Sport is getting rid of you.
Right. Intense.
Intense.
So since then, you have stayed on the trail of doing incredible things. What are you most proud of post the Clinton administration, given that you worked with the United Nations, given that you've gone global, given that you're on a number of high-profile boards, given your passion and conviction for women of the next generation? Tell me.
There are times, when you're in your career that you wonder, did you spend your time on the right things? And the fact that my children are on the right track and lovely young women, that means a lot. That means a lot. And I'm proud that, I've had, every now and then some young woman will walk up to me and say, you made a difference in my life. Whoa, I'm sitting there going, I'm not even that old, how dare you?
Give me time.
No, give me time.
It's about family.
Yeah, and I love being in Atlanta, Georgia. I love having, I love Washington was great, and I still go, back and forth for things, but, we live in a great city. So I think all of that's important.
Veronica Biggins lives by the philosophy of paying it forward. Highly active in the community, she sits on several boards, including Avnet and Southwest Airlines. She's also the Global Board Visitors Chair for Savannah College of Art and Design. Next, restaurateurs revere them and lodging owners love them. Tourists always bring a smile to the face of local business owners. We look at the events that bring them to Atlanta by the droves and explore the impact tourism is having on the local hotel market. Keep it right here. We'll be right back.